Welcome to the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Grantee Training. In this presentation, we will be discussing the Capital Grant Budget Template. First, we will define what a capital grant is and allowable expenses for the funding. We will then walk you through what the budget template looks like in the budget categories. We will finish by explaining the budget certification page and sharing tips on how to successfully complete the budget template. A capital grant is a grant issued by a capital funding initiative to address infrastructure needs. These grant funds will be invested in communities across the state. The General Assembly enacts appropriations for DCEO's capital grants in two forms: a lump sum appropriation and a line item appropriation. All capital grant projects are required to follow the bondability guidelines. These are guidelines set forth to ensure whether a specific project is eligible to be funded from the Rebuild Illinois funds. To meet the requirements, grant expenditures are expected to last the life of the bond term. For example, a laptop generally has a lifespan of maybe 5 years, whereas a roof is expected to have a much longer lifespan. A laptop would not be expected to last the life of the bond term, whereas a new roof would. All capital grant projects are reviewed on a case-by-case basis. The capital budget template has 11 budget categories: design and engineering, building and land purchase, wiring and electrical, equipment, materials and labor, paving, construction management, mechanical, excavation, plumbing, other construction, and contingency. Grantees do not have to utilize all 11 categories, only the categories relevant to the project. When opening the budget template, the first tab provides general instructions to complete the budget template. For the tab section A, grantees will input their entity information in the boxes that are highlighted in blue. For competitive grant programs, the CSFA field should be pre-populated. Next, you will complete the State of Illinois Grant Amount Requested box that is highlighted in yellow. The Grant Amount Requested box is the total dollar amount of the grant that your entity has been awarded. Next, you will see the budget expenditure categories. Please take note of the stipulations in budget categories where a certain percentage is allowed per budget category. These percentages are based on the state grant amount and not the total project amount if other funding is being used in addition to the state grant. The Indirect Cost Rate Information tab follows Section A. Please read through the selections and designate the appropriate box. Please note, for capital grants, no indirect costs can be reimbursed, thus box number 5 should be marked. Section B tab is to be completed if there are dollars being spent on this capital project over and above the initial state grant amount. You will fill in the highlighted blue cells if you are contributing cash, non-cash, or other funding and contributions. Now we will look at each of the budget category tabs. Grantees will complete the corresponding tab within the budget based on their planned capital project. Each budget tab involves inputting costs, detailing what the bondable item is and purpose, as well as a narrative for state funds and a narrative for non-state funds. At the top of each budget category, a description is given to help grantees identify what costs to allocate to each budget category. Now we will input costs and examples into the spreadsheet to showcase the best practices for completion. For this example, the grantee has been awarded a $100,000 capital grant with the intent to build a parking facility for the city. The city will not be contributing any dollars outside of the state grant for the project. We will be using $10,000 for design and engineering, $50,000 for paving, and $40,000 for excavation for a grand total of $100,000. Next, we will click on the Indirect Costs tab to make sure number 5, No Indirect Costs Will Be Reimbursed, has been marked. Since no other funding will be involved in this project, we do not need to complete Section B. Next is the Design and Engineering tab. In this example, we're allowed to use a maximum of 15% of total grant funds. Now we will enter what the $10,000 will be used for in the project. To break down the costs, the first budget line item will be for architectural drawings. The description of work is the design and drawings for the project, and item cost is $5,000. The second budget line item is for environmental services and testing. The description of work is for the testing and environmental services on location of the project, and item cost is $5,000. Now we will complete the narrative state funding portion. In this box, we will describe the purpose of the budget line items in this category by writing costs associated with the architectural drawings and environmental services and testing for the building of a parking facility. Now we will move to the paving concrete masonry workbook. For this category, we will be inputting the costs for the purchase and labor of pavement. For the first line item, we will input pavement. If known, grantees can input the quantity and cost per item. In this case, the total item cost is $40,000. The second budget line item is for the labor and installation of the pavement. If known, grantees can input the quantity and cost per item. For this example, we have an amount of $10,000. We can see that the total comes to $50,000, which is the amount the grantee allotted for the project. In the narrative state box, we will describe the line item's purpose in this category by writing costs associated with the purchase of pavement material and installation labor costs of the pavement to construct a parking facility at the city. For the final utilized budget category, we will use the excavation workbook tab. For the budget line item, we will input excavation and site prep to describe the work at the cost of $40,000. We will input in the narrative state that it will be for costs associated with the excavation of project location and site preparation to begin construction of the parking facility. To review our entries into the budget, we will open the narrative summary workbook page. In the state column, we can see the categories utilized, the cost per category, and the state total of $100,000. Another place to refer to is Section A of the budget. This workbook tab auto-populates from within the budget category tabs and reflects the costs and specified budget category. The budget certification page is required to be signed by 2 officials from the organization. The first signature is for the Chief Financial Officer or equivalent in the organization structure. The second signature required is for the Executive Director or equivalent in the organization structure. All information highlighted in blue will need to be completed: organization name, signature, printed name, title, and date. To summarize, if possible, have a cost estimate of your project readily available. Remember to complete each budget category by detailing the purpose, description, and cost. For each budget category utilized, the narrative state and narrative non-state boxes need to be completed. Refer to Section A and the narrative summary tabs to verify dollar totals are correct and state funds equal the amount of the state grant. When the budget has been completed, submit to your grant manager in Excel format. 2 signatures are required on the budget certification page, and it can be submitted as a PDF. You can learn more about the capital grant budget, as well as other grant-related topics, by visiting the GAT2 resource page at the web address shown here. GAT2 stands for Grant Accountability and Transparency Unit, which is part of the Governor's Office of Management and Budget, also known as GOMB. You may also visit DCEO's Grantee resource page by scanning the QR code with your mobile device or enter the web address shown below. Thank you for watching this presentation on capital grant budgets. If you have any questions, please reach out to CEO.granthelp@illinois.gov.